see how I was doing it with a diagonal pattern here.
Yeah.
Like that was kind of the goal, is so that whatever was growing here, this would not be in its way.
Right, so this is about 8 feet
Yeah.
apart from that part of the diamond.
Yep.
And then the same thing with top to bottom.
Yeah.
But then close here within the diamond is probably only 5 feet.
Yeah, I think it started out, I was more disciplined, and then after a while, I'm just like cutting squares everywhere.
Cutting squares.
Yeah, but honestly, like I'm a big believer in this black fiber, because the reason being is because if you you figure, like, when are the coldest nights? Well, the coldest nights follow your very sunny day, right? And with very little cloud cover, because if it had cloud cover, then the temperatures wouldn't get as cold in the night because the heat couldn't escape. But that's also a bonus if you have black fiber, because the black fiber is going to absorb all that heat during the day and at least be able to radiate it back for at least a few hours. So I think, like, beyond just keeping weeds down, the other thing that I did notice is I was doing a new part of the orchard, and so I had black laid down. And when I was cutting my squares, we had a drought for 3 weeks, and everything was dry. Like, you couldn't get a shovel full in at all.
Yeah.
And so I decided I'll just cut a square and we'll see if we can dig maybe with an auger. And it went through it like butter. So somehow it really is able to absorb and hold moisture a lot better than just regular ground. So
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the fiber. Both keeps it organized with the 1 foot spreading and all that, but it also lasts a little bit longer than I think what it's programmed to last for. It's gonna last 7 years easily.
Yeah, I agree. Any little extra bit of heat that we can give these trees goes a really long way. So when we talk about all the different things that fig trees want, or plants want, it's sunlight, food, water. I mean, you're not doing any watering.
No, I had my water lines, if you can see in the other orchard I did.
Yeah.
Because all the new ones in the back, I thought they would require it. It wouldn't hurt the ones in the front, but I shut the water off after 3 weeks of being established. Because that's really all it takes. Like, I can't tell people enough when they ask, when should I plant my fig tree? And my answer is always May. Do it in May, after the threat of frost. Because if you try June or July, good luck, because you're going to need to water that thing for a good solid month before it gets established. Whereas you plant it in May, it's not going to do anything. It's not going to grow at all. But with all the rain that we're still getting in that late spring, it makes it so much easier for you and easier for the tree to get established. And once it's established, then you don't have to worry about it at all, at least in the Northeast, because we get enough rain.
Yeah, I think if you really were going to plant these fig trees somewhere else, maybe it wasn't as wet as it is here, or the clay that we have.
Right.
It's going to be a good idea, I think, to have a drip irrigation line.
Absolutely.
And that's for maybe a couple of years. Depending on where you
honestly, because there's a big difference. Like, what I did notice is, when I did run the water, the ones that had water that were already established outgrew anything that wasn't on the dripping lines. Yeah. So that that myth that, like, oh, figs don't need water, they need a lot of water early on. Like, you can cut it back, obviously, and you don't want water when they have the ripening process. But as far as, I don't want to say wet feet, but they definitely can benefit from having an adequate supply of water.
And you had that rooted cutting we looked at the other property that grew to taller than us.
Yes.
Okay.
This is a baby Randino. This was actually, I think this might have been from a rooted cutting. So you can kind of see they're pretty massive. Like, if you can get them into the
look at that. Look at this tree,
nice,
guys. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Was that watered?
Yes, that was watered.
Okay.
It got established. That was about a 3 or 4 week period, and then I cut that off. But without a doubt, if that wasn't watered, especially when the time that I put it in, because we really had a dry spell, it wouldn't have been half the size. And so, like, I've been accused of, like, pumping my figs full of chemicals. If that chemical is water, you got me. But as far as, like, constant watering, I don't do that. I know that Tim Clymer does at Threefold Farms. And his are just gargantuan, and he's a big proponent of drip irrigation, even where we are.
So we talked about, in terms of orchard management, we talked a little bit about the sun. Obviously, more sun is better. We missed that one.
Yeah.
And you would agree, based on where you have them planted and the different areas, you have fig trees everywhere. So more sun is going to be
Yes.
better.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that equates to the heat, which we talked about with this black plastic. We also talked about water is really important. We talked about the spacing, planting in May. And then the last thing is just fertilizer, but do you fertilize?
I do not. And there's a reason for that. I was thinking, boy, what if I just, did use like a liquid chemical fertilizer, and then it occurred to me that all the natural microbes that are in there, the beneficial bacteria, like you're basically salting the earth because the chemical that if you're putting like a Miracle-Gro, it is a salt, and you will kill all the beneficial bacteria, and therefore you'll have to continue to
Keep mulching.
Yeah, and so for that reason, I feel like if you have heavy clay like we do, it's loaded with minerals and like pretty much macros and micros. I did a soil analysis before just to see, and also an organic content, and we have very high organic content.
Okay.
So there's between just NPK, there's a lot of calcium, a lot of other macros and some micros that they're already here. So there's you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can just kind of take advantage.
I agree. All right, guys. Well, that was Bill, and I really appreciate Bill for showing us around his amazing orchard. I mean, there's literally trees that it's just like unbelievable how deep it is and how big these trees are. So it's a forest. He's doing amazing work. Check out his channel, and well, I should say what he's doing on his website, Off the Beaten Path Nursery. He'd love it. He's such a nice guy, and he's been doing this longer than pretty much everybody in the Northeast. So we'll see you for the next video. Thanks for watching. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. Take care, guys.